Okay, I know that this is my first top 10 list and I know that it's not safe. I've seen a lot of lists on YouTube and other sites, and whenever there's a list, there's always a whining, bitching asshole that shows up out of nowhere and whines and complains just because they don't agree with a simple list. Listen here before we continue. This is my list and you should see "my" at the title, so that means that it's not yours and you should not act as if it's your list. If you're easily offended just because there's something that you can't agree on, please press the back button and leave. I've seen enough top 10 lists that gets flamed for something that's just stupid. Please, if you're a whiny bitch who always says, "Where's this? How dare you did not put Halo #1, blah blah blah," just leave, okay? It's not hard, just press the back button and let the world go around. Enough said. That's why I disabled the comments in the rating system. Haha, in your face. Okay, since that's over with, let's hope that there isn't a whiny scrunt preparing the bitch. Let's begin by letting me say that every 10 videos I post on YouTube, there will be a top 10 list. Anyway, I've been a long-time fan of the Ratchet & Clank series since the beginning. Since they released their final installment of the Ratchet & Clank series, A Crack in Time, I feel that I should post a list of my favorite weapons of the series. I enjoy these weapons and I'm willing to share it with you guys. The rules are in this list that the weapons have to be creative, original, and fun. So no typical machine guns or rocket launchers because we've seen those in other shooter games. Without further ado, let's start with number 10. Number 10. The Groovatron. If you played Tools of Destructions before, chances are that you love using the Groovatron. And you know what? So do I. This weapon device makes every living thing to dance. And with all honesty, it made me dance. Just when you're about to get yourself killed, you can activate a floating disco ball of doom just to make your enemies do their final dance. The only reason why this thing isn't higher on the list is because it doesn't kill your enemies, and other weapons that's higher on the list does actually cause damage. Number 9. The Glove/Agents of Doom. What wonderful way then to summon little destructible robots and make them sacrifice themselves to defeat your enemies. The Glove of Doom first introduced on the first Ratchet & Clank game, and it proved to be very useful. Seriously, Insomniac Games knew that the weapon was great, so they put this weapon again on Up Your Arsenal, and it was better than the original because you can upgrade them into better little destructible robots. Even though they changed the name of Agents of Doom, the weapon is great. Number 8. The Sonic Eruptor. This cool name of a weapon says it all. I know that this is a new weapon of the series from Crack in Time, but this weapon is just fantastic. I knew Insomniac Game never ran out of creativity up their sleeves, so they came up with something that is this creative and as well as enjoyable. If this weapon were actually real, this will definitely cause people to go deaf or get their brains exploded. Even though it takes time for the weapon to recharge its sonic waves to get to a point where its maximum power, but it's useful to blow them away. Number 7. Razor/Shredder Claws. Is there a close range weapon that's awesome as well as deadly to use over and over again? The Razor Claw is excellent to quickly slay your enemies when they're too close. As you keep using the Razor Claws, it gets more and more powerful and it becomes excellent in use. I wish I had footage of this weapon, but take my word for it, it is awesome. Although the name of the weapon is Razor Claw, it doesn't sound exciting, but when you upgrade it to Shredder Claws, that sounds epic. My only problem with this weapon is that they don't have enough ammunition capacity that I need to defeat large numbers of enemies. Number 6. The Rift Inducer. This trapping type weapon is the holder of multiple black holes. Seriously, when I was surrounded by enemies, this thing helped me get past through them by sucking them when I summon a black hole close to them. The Rift Inducer is more powerful against small enemies in large packs. As for bosses and very large enemies, could not be sucked into the black holes. After reaching to a certain level, the Rift Inducer would create holes that shock enemies if they do not get sucked in fast. The shocking could not kill the enemies, but it weakens them to the point where they're vulnerable to get into the black hole, especially big enemies. Badass. But it's only a number 6 because there's a weapon that's better to suck your enemies in. Not that way. Number 5. The Suck Cannon. Here's a classic Ratchet & Clank weapon, the Suck Cannon. On my Ratchet & Clank review, I mentioned that this is my favorite weapon in the game. Why? It's very creative to suck your enemies in the cannon, and when you're done swapping them in, You can use your cannon to fire back at your enemies. The suck cannon is like a vacuum cleaner and a slingshot combined into one. This weapon's so cool, Insomniac Games returned the weapon and upped your arsenal and made it better than the original. Number 4. The Bouncer. This weapon is a very original bomb launcher because it's a large bomb that spreads out smaller bombs. Believe me, it's not survivable when you get hit by one of these things. The Bouncer could clear out rooms of enemies without Ratchet actually having to enter it. Though that it has a small fire rate, it's one of those weapons that you should not mess with if it were real. I'm so glad that this is one of those weapons that was in Going Commando and made it up to up your arsenal, just like our next one on the list. Number 3. The Lava Gun. This weapon is incredibly deadly. I love the lighting effects of the lava when you fire it. By spinning around firing the weapon, a circle of lava would be created, making a weapon especially useful when surrounded enemies. You can also see a glowing light on whatever the lava hits, and I just can't help but to watch it. The lava gun is great to use when you are ambushed by countless enemies. Seriously, this weapon could kill enemies in seconds. It's a sick weapon, but not sick as... Number 2. Can you guess what this weapon is? If you're thinking that this is a lightsaber, then you are wrong. This is, in my opinion, cooler than a lightsaber. Enter the Plasma Whip, and it is the definition of sick. The Plasma Whip is much like Ratchet's wrench, but visually represented as a whip. Just looking at this thing is just truly amazing to watch. But it would have been higher on this list if they could put this weapon in the other games of the Ratchet and Clank games after Up Your Arsenal. But if it were in the other Ratchet and Clank games, then it would have been acted like a lightsaber. Just imagine this weapon has the ability to deflect bullets and weapons back to the enemies, and that would be truly sick. But with all honesty, I have to say that this weapon could have been number 1 if it were in other Ratchet and Clank games than Up Your Arsenal. Number 1. We Ratchet and Clank fans know that the Rhinos, or
Rip ya a new one.
What did you just say to me?
R-Y-N-O. Rip ya a new one.
Has a reputation of being the most powerful weapon in every Ratchet and Clank game. But which one is the best? My answer is the Rhino 2. If this weapon ever existed, I'd never want to go outside because this weapon is just that deadly. This weapon is a combination of a rocket launcher with homing missiles and a rapid machine gun, and this combination will destroy every enemy within seconds. The Rhino 2's fire rate is 6 shots per second, and with this thing it could destroy large numbers of enemies without even getting close to a foot. This thing could take anything down in a matter of seconds. I like the Rhino 2 the best, because the first one looks like a typical rocket launcher. The third one hurts your eyes over when you use it over and over again. The fourth one, it's so powerful, it's still hard to find. And I'm not sure about the Rhino 5, but in my opinion, I think the Rhino 2 has to be the best. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for my next 10 videos for my next top 10 list. Till then, see you there, my friends. Peace.